Everyone, so in this video we're going to make a manifold for the hydroelectric job I'm working on. It needs to connect, we need to connect the turbine, the valve on the turbine to the pipe. The pipe is, or the flange fitting's 4" and the piping system's 2". So we've got to taper down to it and make a manifold. Also need to be able to attach a pressure gauge and a pressure sensor for possible future control system. Yeah, we need to make it nice and efficient and as simple as possible so we have the least amount of losses. And I bought myself a new tool to make it a nicer job of it. It's like a rotary welding table, so that should help with my welding. Alright, I'll show you the parts and then we'll get to work. So here are the parts we're going to use. So we've got a 4" flange, PN16 4" flange. That connects to the flange on the main pipe. Then we've got a cone, reducing cone. This goes from the 4" to the 2" size that the nozzle needs. That'll be welded on there, but up here, we'll space it up. Then we've got a 2" threaded nipple, then a socket, and then another hose barb. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all the terminology. So that will weld onto there, like that, and that gives us 4" down to 2" hose. It's also going to need these two fittings in it, somewhere like that. One for a pressure gauge for reading the pressure just manually, and then one for a pressure sensor because I'm working with help of a subscriber on a pressure sensitive controller. So we want to future-proof it, so we'll put that in there. And then on the turbine end, one thing I've had trouble with my turbine, whenever I want to do anything with it, I have to try and get this really rigid hose off of here, and I have to heat it up, and it's quite a pain to get off. So with this one, I'm going to have this on the turbine end, cam lock fitting, and then so that'll be on the nozzle, and then this will have the hose on it, and we'll cam lock it together. And it'd be easily removable for doing work on it, which is much better when time sensitive for a customer. So that's the plan. Let's get it all welded together and we'll get it on site. Right, that is actually quite good. I'm very pleased with this. This works great. Yeah, well happy with that. Right, I've just welded the inside as well, to make sure we're definitely watertight, because there's quite a bit of pressure, and it's got to be obviously pressure tight. So yeah, pleased with that. Okay, so that's all done, cleaned up. So this here is the top. No, sorry, this is the top, so that's how it will attach in there. And then we've got this fitting which has a pressure gauge in it. I've put it on the small part rather than the large part because that will give us a more accurate reading of the dynamic pressure. That's the pressure of when the water is moving. And when the water is moving, the pressure is slightly lower due to losses, friction losses. So that'll be in there like that. So when you walk into the building, you'll be looking down on the top of that and you should be able to see what the pressure's at. Done. That is it all done. So we've got the pressure gauge in, which you look at from above, see down, Plug there, just plugging off that temporarily. Hose goes on this and then goes out to the spear valve. A solid connection is slightly more efficient because you don't have hose and things, less fittings. However, having the entirety of the penstock and everything all the way rigid up to the turbine can be problematic unless you put in like rubber couplings and stuff, and the hose takes out a lot of vibration and issues with, you know, pipe moving or anything like that. So I quite like the use of a hose for a tiny little loss, but overall just a more reliable system, because you're not going to get vibration and cracks and things in the pipe and whatever else over the years. That hose is a buffer point for any vibration, and it allows you to change things easier or move things around. So yeah, I prefer hose. But yeah, I think that came out well. Next thing is to go and fit it, get it connected up. Hey everyone, right, so I'm back on the hydro job. And it's getting to that point in the year now where it's getting slippery to get in here, because I really did slide down the track, so I might have to winch myself out of here, but we'll see about that later. There's a lot of stuff to carry down, so I had to come down here. Yeah, we're here to fit the manifold and do a little bit of wiring. So get me tools unload into the turbine building and we'll get to work. Right, so I've just changed those bolts that were too short, so that's all ready to go back on now, and then we'll fit the manifold. Right. Stick this back on, and then hopefully this won't have to come off again for a while. Quite a few years with a bit of luck. Oh, that's the wrong way around. There we go. There we go. Also decided to change the nuts for wing nuts, because one thing I've been learning doing these installs is that the fewer tools you need on site, the better, because it's just something to forget. So we'll put little wing nuts on there, and then if one day I come and I forget to bring a 13mm spanner, it won't matter. So we've got a gasket. Rotate that around to where it goes, like that. So much planning has gone into this. Let's hope it all works. Right, I'm going to get this bolted on, and then we'll get the hose work done. Right, let's get this on. There we go. Let's put that clip on there. I thought this hose was the same hose I used on my system, but I'm not sure it is, to be honest. It's quite a bit more flexible, which in some ways is good, but it doesn't seem as tough, so I might change this. Right then, let's see how many leaks we got. We're bound to have some leaks. If this doesn't leak, I'm going to eat my hat. Yeah, leaking. Right, where is that leaking from? Went on, we're up to full pressure. It's just a slight drip out of it, so a few things need a little tighten up, but not too bad considering. Let's see if this works. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with gravel and bits and pieces coming in and blocking the nozzle. Yeah, the pipe's still got a bit of crap in it, so I'm just draining the pipe and trying to get some of the crap out and put it back together then. We're getting there. Right, so I've had a bit of trouble with gravel in the pipe. It keeps finding its way down the pipe. It's the first time I've been able to have it on all the way. It keeps finding its way down the pipe and into the nozzle. So I think I've got most of it out now. I've got one little drip here that I need to take care of, but it's nothing major at the minute. So yeah, all going well so far. It's just every time I run it, a bit of gravel comes down and blocks the nozzle. So I'm just slowly getting this opened and running it a bit, trying to get all that cleared out. But we're working so far. That's looking good so far. Right, doing a bit of wiring now. Now we know the turbine's all good. Not going to get it connected up the other end today, unfortunately. So don't get too excited. You're not going to see power out of this today. Because at the other end there is also a big solar system, which is another company, and I've agreed to them I won't mess with their equipment because it's quite complicated. They got it all set up for their solar system, and I've got to get with them when we come to connect it up to work together to get it all working right. So I'm going to have to do that another time. So I'm going to do my end, and then we'll have to come back to do the final turning on. Wiring is happening, so I'm not filming much of it because it's a bit boring, but this is the main cable going out. This is the isolator to turn it on and off in here. There'll be the same up the top. And then we've got a breaker, which is rated for what the turbine's putting out. And so if we get any problems with the bridge rectifier or anything like that, then this will trip. Right. Then this goes to the turbine. Gonna have it on a plug, so you can unplug it, flip the turbine round to do any maintenance or anything like that. You know, basically I've got it now, so the turbine can be flipped over with no tools. Yeah, that's excellent. Good. Good. Right, before I get too carried away here, this here is a bridge rectifier. This just takes 3 phases in and it puts DC out. It's like a one-way valve. Because I make my turbines to be able to safely free spin, and that is become unloaded, so they're fail safe. They don't self-destruct once they if the load is lost to them. It's not always possible, but wherever it's possible I try and do it, and in this one that's the case. But it means I need to make sure that the charge controller is going to be safe from over voltage if it does free spin. So I'm just going to quickly connect this up and check that. Nothing special, just so we can get a voltage reading. Now my calculations say that the voltage should be about 130, 140 volts free spinning. So we'll see how good my calculations are. So stick that on there and very carefully try and get a DC voltage reading off that with it running. Right, so this is kind of a big moment actually, because if this went right, that would mean turbine rebuild time. So let's see what we get. It's really mine, it's just because I got them round the wrong way. $130 I said, right? Oh, it's a bit over. There we go, that's fully open now. We've got 150. Yeah, 150. So I'm really happy with that. If you have a look, so this is at full flow now, and we're only dropping about 5 psi of full flow in pipe friction loss. So that's really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. We're draining the pipe, so the voltage is dropping. Right, I'm really pleased with that. That's a really successful test. I say the charge controller can take 250 volts, but I want it to be well within limit, so I made the turbine slightly bigger than I thought I needed to, just to slow it down, so even we were safe when we were free spinning, keeping well below that 250. We're at 150 volts. That's great. That means we're going to half that. That'll be our loaded voltage, and that's perfect. We're not going to get big losses in the cable because I run big cable, and yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's perfect. There's only 20 volts out, so pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, the reason I was 20 volts out is not because I got it wrong. It's because I anticipated a little bit more pipe friction loss. So the pipe friction loss is really low. I'm really happy with that because the manifold's very efficient because we just got the one nozzle. So the manifold being very efficient, we've got hardly any pipe friction loss. So I got a little bit more voltage than I calculated for. But that's good because that means we're going to get more power, less losses. And here's the water flowing back into the stream. So all we do is we take the energy out of it and put the water back in. So no water is lost in the system. It's just diverted, use the energy, and then put back in. Right, so I am mostly done now. I'm just going to go up the top and mount this. In there is one of those bridge rectifiers, so 3-phase in, DC out. It's mounted on there, and I've made some little spacers that space it off the wall. And then it goes into a midnight classic 250 volt charge. So we'll get that end wired up, and then I've just got to wait to meet the solar guys to connect it all up and test all the outputs. We should see a kilowatt off it. I'm confident. We've got minimal losses, and yeah, everything's looking good. And got our wiring and protection all sorted out. And these here are spare cables for a future controller if needed. Yeah. All I need to do is fit a nice socket on that because that's a bit of a mess, but that's it. It's almost ready for a test run, and we just turn it on one last time. That was a kilowatt of energy there, getting wasted inside the housing. Quite amazing, really. Right, we'll turn this off, and that'll call it a day. Right, hey everyone, back on site. I've just done a little, mostly temporary. It needs a bit more work, but I'm not doing it today because it is chucking it down. And we're just going to get this hooked up and tested today, and get it on for the customer. I've done my neck in again, so I'm not in the mood to do a load. Yeah, that should be alright for now. Yeah, I'm basically just waiting for the solar guys to get connected up the top, and then we'll do a power test. It's been absolutely chucking it down. I don't know how I'm going to get out of here in the Land Rover, but we'll have plenty of water to do a full test. So once we're ready, we're going to do a full test today, see how much power we're producing. I'm just having to self-recover on my winch. So I've got my winch up there going to a tree. It's just too muddy here. I'm not even in the vehicle, look, it's driving itself. Yeah, I just slid right down there. Even with big mud tyres, still can't get up this slippery clay. It doesn't look that steep, but it is, it's really steep. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Yeah, I'll be out of here soon. I'll get traction in a minute. It's just really wet down the bottom there. Right, hey everyone, we are in here. I've got a radio here. It's a muddy old day today. I walked a load of mud in here, so it's a bit of a mess, but it's just testing. I'm just waiting for the boys at the top to give me a signal to turn this on, and we're going to see what the output is. Okay, right, going on. If you could let me know, because if you have a look at the charge controller, it will say resting. It should click, a relay should click, and then it should start making some power. And if you could let me know how much power it's making and send the information back to me, that'd be great. Yeah. Perfect, that's exactly what I was looking for. Alright, I'll come up and see you. Haha, brilliant. So it's currently running at 1007 watts. So as it warms up we get a bit more than that, but that's running well so far. I'm well pleased. Looking good. Right, I'm going to go up the top and see how we're doing. Right, so I got permission to come in and film the panel a little bit. So yeah, so this is my bridge rectifier. So the power's coming in from here into the bridge rectifier. Then we've got DC out, and DC then's going up into the Midnight Classic charge controller. And look what we got. We got 1060 watts coming in. So I said to the customer that I'll get him 1000 watts, and we've got 1000 watts. So I'm happy with that. I am really happy with that. Right, we've had our first kilowatt hour in, so it's been running for about an hour. And I'm just going to go down the bottom now and check everything is working alright down there, but it's looking good. Yeah, everything seems to be working great. I'm pleased. I think we can get a bit more out of it. This is a prototype nozzle, so I think I'm going to put a different nozzle on it once we get that sorted out. Need to have a clean up in here, it's a bit muddy, but the output's good. Guaranteed a kilowatt, we've got a kilowatt. I'm pleased with that. Yeah, that is pretty cool. There's quite a lot of work's gone into that, and to say it's not 100% finished yet. I'd like to tidy this up, but my neck's not great. I need to do a bit of concrete in there under it as well, but it's too wet and I haven't got it. Today's not the day. The guy just wants some power out of it for now because it's pretty overcast. Yeah, I'm so pleased. Kilowatt. So really pleased with when that's running at that kilowatt like that, or just over a kilowatt. That's going to be 24 kilowatt hours a day, which is well over twice what the UK average household uses in a day. So just from the hydro alone, he's got twice the average power consumption. 24 kilowatt hours a day, or at the moment would cost well over 10 quid a day. So I'm just up the top checking the intake, and there's loads of spare water. So we're at full flow, that's running at 1 kilowatt, and we've got probably nearly twice as much water left to go still. So yeah, looking really good. I still haven't got around to doing that, but I will do at some point. Yeah, looking good. Right, so yeah, that's going to probably conclude this series for a bit. I do need to come back for one more day just to sort out a little bit of this. I need to concrete that in properly so it blends in, but I haven't got time today. Weather's been horrible and the customer just wanted it on. We've stuck to our word. I guaranteed 1 kilowatt. I was hoping for a bit more. We can get more out of it if we want to, by just putting on a bigger nozzle, running more flow, but it's down to the customer to see if there's enough flow there to warrant that. I'm just finding that this is always on full and there's loads of spare water. I'll put a bigger nozzle on it, we'll get more power. But I think that this kilowatt here is basically going to run, you know, most of the winter at 1 kilowatt, which is an efficient way of doing it. 'Cause kilowatt's a lot. Yeah, we'll have one last look and then we'll call it a day. So one other thing I need to do as well is I want to change that hose. I'm not too happy with it. Yeah, that's one other mod, just come out here out the noise. But yeah, I just want to change that hose for something that's a bit more sturdy. Although it's rated for the pressure, in fact it's rated for twice the pressure, it's not clamping down well, and it's just not filling me with confidence. If that came off, that would cause an injury. So I'm going to change that pipe as well, but I've told the customer just be very careful with it for now. I'll come back in a couple of weeks and sort that out. Yeah, that's it. Concludes the video. Guaranteed 1 kilowatt, we've got 1 kilowatt, and we might get a bit more out of it. A couple of days have passed now, and the solar guys have given me monitoring permission to have a look at the turbine remotely. So I'm at my place now, and here's the turbine here, currently producing 966 watts. It's been doing that for 2 days straight now. It's dropped down a little bit because I think there must be, it was really wet when we were there and the rain stopped. I think there must be a tiny bit of air in the top of the pipe, slightly drained the pipe, so it's dropped off a little bit. But that's done 48 or so kilowatt hours so since we've installed it, so really significant, and it's lovely to be able to see it all working. Yeah, I'm going to email the customer and just let them know that the pipe, it looks like the pipe's drained a tiny bit, and they can turn the nozzle down a little bit and get the pipe to fill back up. But yeah, looking great. As you can see, it's morning time, so there's not a lot of solar coming in, but the turbine's been on all night and the battery's up at 75%, and that's a big battery they got there, 35 odd kilowatt hours, so yeah, significant. Yeah, back home I'm going to be watching that monitor today fairly closely and just having a look at that turbine because I just think that's so cool. Yeah, that's going to conclude the video. Really successful. Some of you would have noticed that the title of the video is 1.5 kilowatt hydroelectric installation. I'm going to keep it at that. I guaranteed 1 kilowatt, but I was hoping to push it maybe to that's going to be the real limit of it. And I think I can do that. It's just down to the customer if he wants it, needs it, and if the water's there to provide it. When we don't have enough flow data to really guarantee that at the moment. And the trouble is the bigger I make the nozzle, it won't work as well at lower flows, so it will go higher, it'll go to 1.5 kilowatt, no problem, but then it won't go down a lower flow effectively, so it could lose adjustability. So say come March time or something, when the flow is reduced, it won't be able to turn it down to such a fine adjustment, so I'm reluctant to change it. Kilowatt's really good. If he wants more, we're getting more. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.